Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. At Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Syracuse christens the new dome with a blowout win over Louisville. The 12th man came through like we'd hoped. Congratulations to all of you. So proud of that. Helping the Orange to a 31-7 win. You'll hear from us, and we'll hear from you in fan feedback. But the first order of business, the first coach montage of the season. Let's listen to see what Coach had to say immediately following the win.
Really proud of Otto's Army, freshman, sophomore, junior class, the seniors, Syracuse, the community. Wow. The noise level was through the roof. And there's no doubt that it affected a really, really special athlete in Malik Cunningham. And I couldn't be prouder of the atmosphere that was in the JMA. The players, the coaches, it was a complete, we're exhausted. It was a complete win. We left it all out there, players and coaches. And, we took some hits, and we're not going to talk about them. We're going to see what the results are. But right now, you got 105 guys in there that are just elated, and they better be good. And Marshall Street better not close down because they deserve it. The defense did an amazing job. And once again, even the plays that they had that were successful, really, I'm not saying this, we made some mistakes on. I mean, the guys knew what the mistakes were. The coaches knew what the mistakes were, and we're looking at them, you know this. Don't do that. And they're like, yes, coach, I won't do it again. Well, that's great. Try not to do it the first time, okay? But they really played a complete game. Couldn't be happier for Coach White. Couldn't be happier for those single-digit guys in that entire defense, and the way the backups came in when guys went down. Really proud of them. Well, watch this. Here's my thing about the penalties. Were there too many? Yep. Were there a lot on both sides? I haven't looked. I'd imagine there's a lot on both sides. Did they have a lot too?
Yeah, I mean, like the false starts and like snapping fractions.
Right.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. You know better than me.
Well, I haven't looked at it yet, but I'll have a lot better feel for it by Monday. But some of those penalties were aggressive penalties. Some of those, when you watch what was going on, you don't like the penalties where, the mental ones. But when you talk about the game and their effort and what they were trying to overcome, I mean, I don't know if you've been there or not. This is a bully that's beating you up 3 times in the courtyard, and you haven't eaten for a while, and he's taking your money and he's taking your peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you're getting skinny and you need something to eat. So it was great to finally get an opportunity to win a game against him, and we're going to take it. It's the first game of the year, and even with those penalties, we have a tool now, and we can go back and work on those, which is what you're supposed to do on games where you start the season. You have an opportunity to clean some of that stuff up, and it doesn't show up so much. In a conference game, it's drastic. So we've got some games where we go back and clean some things up before we go back into conference.
Garrett Schrader played a really well-balanced game tonight, rushing, passing. Was there anything in particular that you feel like he really excelled at tonight?
Being the field general, being competitive, showing guys that he's willing to give it all up and end it right there to get a first down to win a game. I mean, there's no doubt you can follow him. He shows you the way. And if you're not going to give the same effort that he's given, boy, you better be a heck of a politician. You better be able to talk it right off. You better be able to talk, because he's an action guy, and you want to follow his lead.
Hey, Coach. This is probably I think this is the 6th time you faced Malik Cunningham, since you guys have faced Louisville, and just want to know, like, did it take some time still, like, trying to figure him out?
This was a new approach. This was not the same. The other times we lost was an old approach. This was a new approach, and I'm not going to say it, publicly like this because it's not right, it's not proper. But if you want to off camera, offline, without you putting it in print, I'll be glad to tell you. I know that's hard for you guys sometimes. So if you can't do it, don't break my rule and lie to me. Don't look me in the eye and lie. But if you want to know and not print it, I'll tell you. It reminded me of the good old days, and it also told me that we need more. There was a lot of people in there, but it wasn't a full house. And someone told me, well, if you win, they will come. Well, we won. I'll be looking to see you real soon. To go out, and to see a punt that goes longer than 9 yards, to see guys traveling and covering. We had a situation where we had a person offsides, and we kicked the ball, and the ball went down to the 27-yard line. Is this enough detail for you? And then instead of taking the ball on the 27-yard line, they backed us up 5 yards and told us to kick again. And all those guys had ran down once. And most of those guys are on the starting defense. And everybody looked at me like we were going to take them off and sub them out. We're not subbing them out. If they need to take a blow, they can take a blow on defense. And then we ran them down again 5 yards further. And I'm really sure, I'm not perfect. Lord knows I'm not. But I'm really sure that when the smoke cleared, the ball was back on the 27-yard line again. They did an unbelievable job, and watch this, of stopping a returner that we know is dangerous because we signed him. Okay, and he used to be our starting tailback, and we wish nothing but the best for him. But we know how good he is, and we're not to kick that ball to that young man and to be able to tackle him in that situation. That's big-time special teams. That's just a start.
All right, Joe, let's get right to it. The first coach montage of the football season. An exciting game last night, obviously. A little bit. Yeah. The only way I did not see this going, and I said it, was a Syracuse blowout of Louisville. And it's exactly what they did. So, we both felt good about this game coming in. I got most of my feels from the players themselves, just watching interviews, listening to them talk, and just you could tell they were just so ready to get after it in the Dome and opening up against Louisville in a huge game, and a game that nobody had Syracuse except for me, you, and a few others. I mean, I went back through last night before I had my last beer. I celebrated with one. And went back through and just checked the local picks made. There wasn't many picking Syracuse. No. So, look, a big win, and we'll talk about it here, and then we'll move on from it. But it's one to gloat about, I feel like.
And we did talk about that as well. I know that when you brought that up, I remember I brought up the fact that we just haven't had a close game with him, right? And that in last year there was times when there was pressure on Louisville to score, and Malik Cunningham, they turned the ball over. And that's what you saw. I think we got out early. We kept it close. And then in the second half, there was pressure there. And, one interception was really, really just amazing. The other one was a really, really awful throw. And then he started getting sacked and hit and fumbled. So, we kept it close. Like Coach said, we had a different approach. And, what a way to start, man. What a way to start.
An excellent way to start, obviously. And we'll go to Coach's first point, and that being Otto's Army, the local crowd there. Obviously affected Cunningham. It was a great effort by them. The 12th man was a problem for Louisville, without a doubt, and especially Malik Cunningham. And we talked during the preview, and I said, I think that for Syracuse to be successful, they're going to need the crowd. And the crowd, man, it was loud. It doesn't come across the TV very often. Last night, it came across many times. It was very loud there. You can tell, they burned a timeout because of the noise once. They're just totally flustered. And enough can't be said about that. And I think, just to couple that with coaches towards the end of his towards the end of the montage there, where he talks about the crowd again, and he says, if you win, they will come. We've always talked about, Joe, what comes first, the wins are the asses in the seats, right? And I think we both agree, at least I think, that you got to win. You got to win to get the tickets sold, to get people in there, to get them excited about it. And with the crowd that we saw last night, and with a win that we saw last night, I think the Purdue game is another big, it's non-conference, but it's a big non-conference game. And I think that will be the telltale of how the trajectory for the crowd's going to go for the year. But needless to say, hey, look, they got the win. It's time to start filling those seats.
Yep. Yeah, 37,000 something, I think, showed up.
Not terrible, yeah.
Not terrible.
People who were there made up for the lack of they made up for the empty seats for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. And like you said, you could hear it. And that was a crowd we needed. And I just don't know if it was because of Louisville or it was because normally this time of season they blame it on what, apple picking,
apple
right?
picking, the state fair
fair's going on.
Even
right?
the state fair got a shout out last night from ACC Network too.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, again, there wasn't. I would have liked to have seen 40. I think that's a good benchmark for a home opener. To kind of let you know how the
fans feel for the season.
Yeah, for the season, and have expectations and stuff. And so it wasn't awful, like you said. The people that were there, they made up for it. I talked to a couple of my buddies that were at the game that said it was crazy loud. And yeah, man. I mean, they did them right. They were loud in the spots they needed to be. They were loud from the beginning. The team got him into it, and there's no doubt in my mind that we should be able to, if we go to UConn and take care of business next week, then we should be looking at a situation where we got 45,000 coming up to the Dome to watch us play Purdue.
Yeah, and let's hope. And I think they will. I think we're going to see. We remember that after the 10-win season, there was record season ticket sales. So, right. It does transfer. The wins do transfer into asses in the seats. I think it's just plain and simple. The defense was amazing. We knew they were going to be good with the returning linebacker core. We're a little bit weary about the front line there, but they proved to be good, man. Malik Cunningham, as time wore on, was just little by little going less and less forward. You had a goal line stand. You knew Malik Cunningham was going to get the ball for that. They went for it on fourth and 2 or something like that instead of taking the easy points when the game was still somewhat close. You had 2 forced fumbles, 1 recovered, back-to-back possessions for Louisville resulting in interceptions. The defense, just all in all, we got Stefan Thompson. We don't know what's going on there, but just amazing showing for the defense. Michael Jones, he said he was chomping at the bit to get into this game. He did not disappoint. He did not disappoint. He got his mitts on Cunningham clean by himself once for a sack. So just amazing to hold this offense to 7 points is amazing. And for a quarterback who threw 6 interceptions last year, he threw 2 against Syracuse in the first game of the season. That's just huge. I think it speaks volumes. I really do.
That was all the talk, and you even heard it in the commentators, and they were just talking on that how they were impressed with Schrader. But Malik Cunningham was the guy coming in that we thought. He had a 25.6 QBR when it was all said and done. And honestly, like what we talked about and all the. I still know that there's depth situations in certain areas, right? But I looked at the defense yesterday as better than advertised, better than I actually thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what the deal is with the Louisville receivers, and I don't know if it's the receivers or not. But our defensive backs just locked them up. That Garrett Williams interception was an amazing, just crazy individual effort. He did not have to do that. That wasn't even his job. but he saw it and he saved it. And to me, that was play of the game. And
it was just demoralizing for Louisville.
Well, they catch that at 17-14. They get a little bit of momentum, and then who knows, right? But just to see that defensive line, I mean, Lockett was holding his own. Okechukwu, Steve Linton, who wasn't even on the 2-deep, had a crazy good game. And then to see, hopefully Stephon Thompson is okay, but, he got banged up. Obviously, Chris Elmore looks like he's out for the season. I mean, if I had to guess.
That's unfortunate that he just can't seem to stay healthy. It didn't look good because it wasn't much going on there. And when there's not much going on and you go down like that, that's never good.
Yep. And, Marlo Wax, he went down that one time, but I think it was a stinger in his shoulder and stuff like that. So
led the team in tackles. I think Marlo Wax did too.
Yeah. But when they came out and you saw Chase Simmons come in, you saw Derek McDonald, he came in, he had a half a sack and an interception. Who was the other one? Chase Simmons. Lowry came in, right?
That's right. Yep.
But McDonald. I mean, he impressed the crap out of me. So I mean, just all these question marks and whether or not we have depth here. What happens if we lose one of our linebackers? Well, I mean, I think that we got a guy or two that can come in. I saw different guys going in there and making different plays. I mean, that defensive line went against a damn offensive line that had 4 to 5 returning starters with this quarterback, and they did that. I mean, obviously, I think that we were aggressive, but like it was a controlled aggression. We didn't over pursue. There's plays where, we knew that there was going to be holes and that he was going to end up stepping up to try to run, and then we just closed him. We just closed in on him. To hold him to 13 carries for 34 yards is amazing.
It is amazing, and we'll piggyback on that right after this. The penalties for Syracuse were atrocious. Just the false starts were totally unacceptable. It was the worst aspect of the game. A year ago, well, that's a totally different team. I'm not even going to make that comparison, but it's not easy to win. It's not easy to win when you have that many penalties. They overcame a bunch of those drives where there was like 2-3 false starts. The illegal formations. First of all, there was one illegal formation that didn't look illegal to me, but whatever. Maybe it was the angle I was looking at was the second one. But the first one, it's like, come on, like, get your crap together. Like, just, I understand what Coach said. He obfuscated the question. He got into, about just first game jitters, basically, against a good team, which you can chalk up some of it to that. But this stuff, fortunately, is fixable.
Yes.
And that's the good thing. If we were seeing, there was 3 drop passes, but if we were seeing like that, like we had in the past couple years, it would be a huge problem. There were some amazing catches made.
Yes.
Aside from the couple drops, right? So not real worried about that. I'm not super worried about the false starts and those types of things. And they weren't getting picked on. I was seeing them before the flags were even thrown. I mean, they were just clear as day on the false start stuff. So Syracuse, 18 penalties for 107 yards and 7 penalties for 50 yards for Louisville. There was a clear missed face mask on Tucker. I might as well say it now because it happened so early in the game. It just pissed me off. So, and the 2 targeting calls, Joe, I mean, while we're talking about refs and stuff, well, it turned out to be 1 targeting call, but it looked like the same exact play to me. It looked like that same exact, you could have put those side by side and it was the same hit.
See, to me, it was a little bit different. And because it looked to me like that defender, like the guy that got kicked out, he got kicked out for targeting, I think, because it was a helmet to helmet situation.
Yeah.
But the other one was a crackback that I think the only reason he didn't get thrown out was because he didn't go helmet to helmet. So that I think was a little bit of the difference. The first one, the guy was a little bit more squared up. So I didn't look at that one as bad of like a crackback as much as he just went helmet to helmet, and that's targeting in any position anytime someone's going to hit in college.
Right. This blindside hit, yeah.
The other one was a crackback. The guy didn't see him coming. I'm just glad that, our 2 players got out of that healthy because those hits can...
Wasn't Stephon Thompson one of them?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, Stephon Thompson hurt his leg on... It was that play, but it was because he got juked and he kind of fell and yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Yeah, but I mean, we talked about the pre-snap penalties a little bit when we were talking about, this new offense and everything like that. And, how moving people around and seeing different types of motions and different type of
just more complex. It's more complex
formation. Well, yeah, but that's a lot of those times. Like if you have if you don't have the athletes, or if it's a way to get people open. It's a way to get your receivers to be able to come off the line and get like a running start, so that they're not getting jammed at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. So all those things are really helpful. And a lot of the swing passes we did too opens up the middle of the field with Tucker. I think that's going to be a huge change this year as far as a help, both to get the ball in Tucker's hands more, but also to open up the middle of the field. And but with that, and with a little bit of the more exotic, stuff and moving around, comes the penalties until you really, really get used to it. So I feel like that was going to be an intended, one of the unintended consequences with changing this. But like you said, it's fixable. So, and I mean, we won with 18 damn penalties and 3-4 drop balls.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this doesn't happen last year. It's a tough comparison to make because the team looked totally different, but it just doesn't. Yeah. You can't win like that unless you're dominating every other aspect of the game, which is what they did.
Yeah.
Garrett Schrader, I mean, he just looked way more confident. He was so like just the awareness, he looked so comfortable. Just his throwing, everything, like he was going over defenders. He's putting balls right where they need to be all the time. Just an obvious leader on the field. I think that came through as Coach mentioned, being the general out there. And to be quite honest with you, he looked more like Malik Cunningham than Malik Cunningham. Yeah, 18 for 25, 237, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and then 16 rushes for 95 yards and a touchdown. And he could have done more. And he got out of a couple hairy situations and just was like, blew my mind. I mean, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. It's just amazing. The elusiveness. We have a dual threat quarterback. If he could keep this up, and these receivers, I think they had 3 drops. But look, first game of the season, whatever. I think that's fixable too. This kid, Garrett Schrader, man, is going to be. I feel like if he could stay healthy and continue to play for the rest of the year, when he leaves Syracuse, he's gonna be missed.
Oh, I mean, without a doubt, it all just depends on who we have behind him, right? I mean, Dungy was missed, but we were like, hey, we got DeVito, we're gonna be okay. And then,
right?
Then the last 3 years happened, right?
Right.
So, and I mean, we knew that Garrett had this. In last year, I think he showed flashes
We did, but there's the Schrader haters.
There's the Schrader haters, but we talked about all the different types of things that go into it. The fact that you need to pass block, and the fact that the receivers need to get open, and all that other kind of stuff. And honestly, like realistically, to me yesterday, I saw number one, obviously a confident guy, and this is part of our problem last year, going 5-7. And for 4 games, we were playing 2 quarterbacks, not even figuring out who's who. And then Schrader finally gets the nod after 4 games, and then it takes him a couple of weeks to get up there, to get to the point where he's running it, or it feels like his team, So that's the problem with coming into the season, not knowing who your starter's going to be. I mean, you could tell it was his team.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not in a quarterback battle. He's not worried about losing his job. He's not out there playing nervous and playing afraid to make a mistake. That is his team, and he was amazing last night. And the one thing I immediately saw too is how good of coaches Robert and I and Jason Beck are.
Yeah.
You immediately saw yesterday how much better the play calling was, how much better these coaches are putting the same players we have from last year, putting them in better positions to be successful. And I mean, you could, it was easily seen that the coaching is way better with that and with special teams.
Yeah. And, Garrett Schrader, hopefully another year of this, and just look for him to get better throughout the year and more comfortable. It's going to be it's not an easy as we talked. It's not an easy schedule.
No.
He's going to have to avoid some of the hits. If I one criticism of Garrett Schrader, it is not sliding enough, and he did towards the end. But
my criticism would be tighten your stupid chin strap.
Oh well, yeah, that too.
Always getting his helmet knocked off.
Yeah, I know. The big beard was an excuse maybe last year, but he doesn't have that this year. But he did make some crucial first down runs by not sliding too. So I think it's just a matter of knowing when to do it. Well, I just don't want to see the dude get hurt.
Right. Well, none of us do.
Right.
But, he's flying through the air, jumping over people. He's sneaky like they're calling him a magician. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was that one play was a third down play, and he had ran backwards and then just scooted by a couple defenders and tight-roped the sideline a little bit there, and ended up getting the first down. It was amazing.
The guy, when he jumped over the guy, but it wasn't really like a Lamar Jackson hurdle. It was more of like he slowed down his whole speed and kind of changed his body, and the guy missed him. And ran 16 times for 95 yards. So, and when you look at his passing, with the 3 or 4 drops, if they would have been caught, which they were all catchable balls, the ones that were dropped.
And 21 for 25 at least.
21 for 25, 22 for 25, and you probably can throw up another 60. He'd be close to 300.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a day
against a decent team.
Yeah, against a decent team. They're not known for their defense.
No, they're not.
Weren't last year,
but we're not known for our offense. We're known for. You have great Schrader. Once I learn English, I'll say it. You have Schrader, and we said, if he can throw the ball, this offense is going to be freaking dangerous because we already know he can run it. Like, what do they cover? What do they do? You got Tucker, 21 carries, 98 yards, and then I think he 6 receptions for 85 with that long 55-yard little screen pass or whatever that was, a little dunk pass. But anyway, you got to worry for passing to Tucker. You got to worry about Tucker running. You got to worry about Schrader running, and you got to worry about Schrader passing. That's a lot of it for a defense to worry about. Yep. So, look.
And that's the thing is if our offensive line stays healthy, and obviously they get a little bit more disciplined with these, penalties. The question is, how many guys do you need to bring to the box to stop that read option with Schrader and Tucker? Because then, how many one-on-ones do you have? So it's just going to make it easier for the passing game if they can consistently run like this. And again, the coaches are putting them in great positions because as soon as they start coming in, they start doing those swing passes to Tucker. And again, I'm glad that the coaches, they stuck with the read option with Sean Tucker and Garrett Schrader because we knew that it worked and they knew that it worked coming in. But it was the little wrinkles and things that they had off of that was going to be interesting to see, and what was really going to be, how much better is this offense going to be, or is it going to be the same kind of can't throw, only run? And I just think the things that they added first game, day one, it just looks to me like it's a very, very improved offense with an improved defense too. So
and balanced. That was one of the things coming into here that Anai was going to do, and he absolutely accomplished that. Malik Cunningham, the kryptonite. Coach thinks he's got it figured out. He didn't give away his secret, but obviously they did something different and it worked. So a little icing on the cake there. I think, you get the Coach Babers swag on that a little bit. And I think just the coaches that were brought in and being able to not have to worry about the quarterback and all of these things coupled together just are going to create this type of environment. And they did have a long time to prepare for Malik Cunningham, so there's that, right? If you want to play devil's advocate a little bit, but they did it, man. Now I don't remember many defenses shutting Cunningham down like that. And like you said, 34 yards rushing on 13 carries, just dominance. So
yeah, and one of them was his long was 14.
Well, yeah.
So
okay.
take away that 14, you're talking 12 for 20.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good.
No.
Coach wraps it up with the special team stuff. Mentions it's nice to have a punt go further than 9 yards, which yes is amazing. We made plenty of jokes and things last year about the punting game and the kicking game a little bit in general. It wasn't great, but Von Marburg from Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, with the leg. I think he averaged like 41. Something like that, right? So
with a long of 49 and 2 were punted inside the 20.
And then you look at what Coach said and Satterfield's decision to take the 5-yard penalty after you got the ball out to the 27 and make him kick again to Jawar Jordan, the ex-SU player. And he had me nervous a couple times, but to have to re-kick a ball after you tackle someone at the 27, it's kind of like, oh, well, crap, where they got up their sleeve type thing or whatever. But I was a little nervous, but what a tremendous job by Von Marburg and special teams all together in general. So pretty good. I was happy. So
yeah, well, the tackling overall, that was another
it was
thing.
good. It's good.
I mean,
sure.
The tackling overall was good, and then it's good when right from the beginning. And again, if anybody listens to the commentators, they were talking about it in the beginning. We had a lot of good open field tackles. Our secondary is making tackles, and it's just good to see. Seeing Jihad Carter come up and tackle, Marshawn Ford, who's possibly an NFL tight end, very close. Just one-on-one, it's just impressive, and seeing some of the stuff that Garrett Williams could do, and good thing for him he made some good plays, man.
Yeah,
good
he was
plays.
the one with that interception in the end zone.
Yeah, and he's the one that chased down the little reverse pass that they had.
Yeah, they got him. That was before they went for it on 4th down there. That was when they got down there. Yeah,
which I didn't agree with. I think if you're Louisville, you take the field goal, and I think that's what it was. It was so loud, and I feel like we talked about how hungry we were to get this game, and there was just a few times, I think that not taking that field goal, I think was something that that hurt Louisville, and then it got to the second half where he threw that interception. Really both plays that Garrett Williams made stopped just the momentum, getting him within a touchdown. If they get a touchdown on that long pass to make it 17-14, then you never know. You don't know what happens with momentum. So he made some huge plays. Mikel Jones made some huge plays. Obviously the offense and everything. But, I was just so proud to see the way that they handled themselves on, the depth in the younger guys on, like you said, special teams, and then when they had to come in and actually help on defense, it was impressive. That was one thing that I didn't expect to see.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by a couple of those things, but all in all, this was one on my list that I was really on the fence about, winning or losing. I'm so glad that they won, but I'm also glad that I picked them to win too, because I just felt like it was going to be a good game. It wasn't a good game for Louisville.
Right.
I thought it'd be close throughout. That's all. But hell, amazing performance by Syracuse at home, and it's good. So Syracuse starts out 1-0. I believe they lead the division.
That's huge, and this even goes back
play.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was a huge win as far as like what we talked about, and we did the preview show with, Tyler, and we were talking about where we thought they were going to be and what the first 5 games before going into that bye week before NC State and stuff. This just puts a target, on that Purdue matchup pretty big, but winning this game just makes it to where I feel like we have a great percentage to go for at least 4-1 in these first 5, and I would have loved to have seen the percentage or the chances, the probability of Syracuse making a bowl game before this game and then Syracuse making a bowl game after this game. Because, like, to what you said, this was definitely one of them. Or if we want to go bowling, this was one I feel like we needed to get.
And I got them at 7-5 for the season, and this is that really I needed this one to even keep that alive. So, anyways, all right, that's it from us. Time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do at the end of every game. I ask you for your thoughts on said game. You go there, you leave your thoughts, and we talk about them here. So, man, it's been a long time since I've said that.
Yeah.
It feels great. It feels, for whatever reason, it feels longer in between doing this year than last year. I guess it's because Syracuse didn't make the tournament. It's probably what it is.
Probably.
You know, you get an extra a couple weeks maybe out of it.
Lost the first game of the Boeheim's Army.
Yeah. So, well, we don't do that with that. But, I mean, anyways, it feels good. That's my point. Look, at If Not Now When 84, okay? This guy's been a fan feedback favorite for quite some time. Never knew up until 4 days ago. I was 4 days years old when I realized At If Not Now When 84 is the same Michael as the Michael in the Spotify Green Room. So
yeah,
I didn't know that. Joe knew that. You knew that?
I did.
Why didn't you ever tell me? I had no idea. I thought they were two different people. So this whole time I thought two people listen to the podcast. Now I realize it's just one. Same guy.
Sorry.
That's cool, though.
I just assumed you knew.
No, I had no idea. Defense, If Not When 84. Defense 10 of 10. Offense line 6 of 10. Schrader 9 of 10. Clean up the penalties, and Louisville probably won't score in this game. The Dome was rocking and messed them up a couple of times. Love that. Overall, great win. Go Cuse. Yes. I thought the offensive line did better than 6 out of 10. I might give them a 7 because I was pleasantly surprised. I know. But
if you're only going by the blocking.
Yeah, well, I guess we got to throw the penalties in there, huh? Yeah. You're right. I might give them a 5 now. But yeah, you're right. I was talking about just the pure protection aspect of it. But okay, fair enough.
I wonder if our fans were still being loud when we were on offense and that was what was going on, or if it was just really because I don't know. I couldn't really tell. But remember Trevor Pena's?
Which one?
His false start. He ran a route.
Yes, he did. He was downfield.
That's embarrassing. I've done that before. That's embarrassing.
But yeah, they were hyped. They were hyped up, like Coach said. He gave him the excuse of they were hyped up, man, ready to go. At Tim Abbott 44, they tried to handicap themselves with the penalties, but somehow fought through it. Defense played phenomenal. Seems to be a new attitude, a toughness about this team. Time will tell. That's a good point. It is a new attitude, and I do think this team is tough. This is a tough team.
I thought last year's team was tough. I just think that with everything going on with the quarterback change in the beginning, but I thought that they were a tough team. It's just this year they're tougher. Yeah. Well, that's solid. By the way, I got my phone. I got a new phone, so I got no more cracked screen. Nice, good job, bud.
Yeah, right. At Cuse Waterboy, our good buddy. Tried to tell people this team was different. Maybe now they'll listen. The defense fully understands Tony White's scheme and was flying around the field. Schrader did major work in the offseason, chucking the rock. 2 weeks. Let's pack the Dome for Purdue. And my daughter's first game. Let's effing go. There you go. You got to pack the Dome for Waterboy's daughter's first game. Got it. You got it. She's going to be wearing the muffs, I'm sure. Okay? Make it worth it. Make it worth the purchase. I think, like you said, Joe, coming out of this UConn game, hopefully going into this Purdue game, the fans will be energized and pack the Dome. But we kind of touched on the fact that none of us really knew what we were going to see with this defense this year, and them learning this 3-3-5 scheme. and kind of perfecting it in having kind of the pieces in place in the way that Michael Jones talked about it in his interview on Media Day. I was just like, man, I'm telling you, I think that this is going to be something to see, and it sure was. I just feel like, I just feel like the sky's the limit right now with the defense, and you don't get these opportunities often where you have these amount of players returning and of this caliber. Not just returning, but like these players of this caliber returning, and how special Michael Jones is, and even Chestnut and Williams, and just, man, they've got an opportunity to make this year on defense really special. So.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing too is like we have a lot of starters coming back, right? The only difference is our defensive line. As far as defense is concerned, they had a lot of starters come back in their offense. A couple playmaking tight ends, I think a running back, and an offensive lineman. Like it's not like this offense for Louisville is really like that far off as far as personnel from what they had last year when they beat us 41-3. I think the only difference is they got a new offensive coordinator, which again, so do we. So we're still dealing with the same kind of adjustment and situation, and it's like what we talked about. Trying to figure it out. 2 new offensive coordinators. And realistically, it's just going to be who's more prepared, who's ready. And you saw mistakes on both sides. You saw that they weren't, no sides were completely sharp in mid-season form, but we were just more prepared and we were more hungry. And sometimes in the first game, that's all you need. With a little help from our friends, right? 12th man.
Yes, exactly. David in the Spotify Green Room says, are you guys willing to change your preseason picks for wins this season? Would you up it by another win or two based on what you saw last night, or is it too soon? Well, I would say this. I was right last year. Joe was not. Joe kept it safe last year with a 6-6. Joe kept it safe again this year with a 6-6. So I got him at 7-5. I'm going to keep it right there because I still feel like there's a couple of things that need to go right for that to come to fruition. And I think that it's possible that they could be better than that. I think it is possible, but I would hold on that. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, that's, I guess, my one thing. Because we've seen this before, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get too excited, right?
We didn't even make a bowl game the year we beat Clemson.
True,
so,
yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't want to overreact. We did not come out of that injury-free, and I think that there is a little bit of, we lose Chris Elmore for the year, then that's going to hurt a little bit, I think, in the long run, because that's just the depth situation. And we also know that there's people in certain positions that we can't afford to get injured, or else changes the whole projection of the season.
When you saw Tucker rolling around on the ground, you thought,
I had a knot in my stomach. I had to pause it and go outside for a second because
I rewound it.
I was like, not first game.
I rewound it because they weren't showing the damn replay. They were just showing him writhing. And I saw a knee hit him on his inner thigh. First of all, in slow motion, I'm not going to pass judgment, but in slow motion, it looked like on purpose. Now, I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying it looked. Slow motion brings out those types of aspects, I think, when you look at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I would like to hope it's not. But either way, it's like getting punched in your inner thigh. It had to have been a stinger.
Oh, yeah. He was out for a little while. He doesn't get that, and he easily breaks his 100 yards. He probably
almost
did,
but yeah.
There's no reason to keep the coach to keep him in there just to get your 100 yards. But, yeah, it's the first game. We don't know how good these teams are, What if Louisville turns around and they lose every game, or they go 2 and whatever,
Yeah,
we don't know. I don't want to overreact off of week 1, but after a week 1, I'd rather feel like the way I do now than after a loss.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't think Louisville is a bad team at all. I saw a tweet or something that said, or maybe it was in fan feedback, I can't remember, it said, no, because if it was, I would have brought it up earlier. Malik Cunningham's overrated. Man, that is not true. That is not true. He's not overrated. He got a little bit of, he was getting his ass patted all pregame and everything, but he's not overrated. And you don't want to hope you hope that Louisville isn't overrated just as a team in general, because it takes away from the validity of the win. I mean, you don't beat a good team and say they're overrated. You beat a good team and say, man, that we just beat a good team. They're not overrated, right?
And you don't want to think that either, right? I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback. I don't know if he's got the size for it, but he has put up way too many numbers, and done what he's done for way too long to sit here and say he's overrated. I mean, I remember a little while back when, I think we beat a Teddy Bridgewater Louisville team. I think we beat Geno Smith when he was leading a ranked West Virginia team twice.
One of those was a bowl game.
And he's the starter for Seattle this year.
Right.
So just because you win a game against a good quarterback doesn't make him overrated. I mean, it can be a situation where maybe we might just be better than what we expected and what a lot of other people are.
That's what I'm
and I mean, that's what happened with the Dungies year, bro. We were predicted to come in last place and win. The over-under was 3 games.
Well, we're predicted to finish 13th in the ACC this year overall.
Mm-hmm.
So
you don't know how good teams are. You don't know how they're going to be by the middle of the end of the year. I'm not going to change it. But ask me after the Purdue game.
Right. I got Purdue as a loss. So if they win that game, David, to wrap the question up, I might bump it up 1. I sit at 7-5, and could be 8-4. Who knows? At K Nabiwaniak, effing boat race them, still in shock. Yes, that was the thing. Was like they started. They just kept creeping away, and we were entering the fourth quarter. And it's still, what was it?
24/7.
24/7 was it? Entering the fourth quarter. 17-7 entering the fourth quarter is what it was. So I'm still thinking to myself, I'm like, they could still lose this game. This game is not over. Syracuse has had a problem finishing games. They could still lose. And they go ahead and they score 14 points in the fourth quarter. More points scored in the fourth quarter than the previous 3 for Syracuse. And they just finished the game, man. They finished the freaking game. And and just put it to them. Took them out behind the woodshed and just whacked them over and over again. And yeah, that's what you like to see. You like to see your team finish, man. They finished. So
yeah. For a little while there, I didn't think. If you're anything like me, it was just a situation where I was just waiting. Just kind of like we took the lead, and then all of a sudden they had that one drive with the one long run play, and I was like, oh, they're going to break a couple of those throughout the game, right? But then I seen them try to get slick with it and try to be fancy already. And when you're doing fancy plays like that, then that's a key that other stuff isn't working. And when we stopped them stopped them at 4th and goal, there were so many little things where it was like I was just waiting. And then the post came, and then Garrett Williams. In previous seasons, that's a touchdown. This year, Garrett Williams goes and saves the touchdown just like he did chasing the guy down before. And it's just like I was waiting as a Syracuse fan, like, all right, when are the floodgates going to open? When are they going to break loose? And they're going to have big plays. And all of a sudden, a game that we've been dominating for 3 quarters, we're just going to lose and give away. And like you said, we didn't.
They didn't do it. Louisville was on plan B and plan C. And like Coach said, that post route that you're talking about has beat us at least twice in the past that he can remember. So, anyways.
And then all of a sudden I look up and we were winning 24-7 and we had the ball and I saw the time and I was like, man, a lot of crap's got to happen are we going to win this game? And then it didn't hit me until about 5-6 minutes left where I was like,
yeah, when you felt comfortable because you're just waiting for disaster.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're used to.
Yep.
To some degree. At Oil Cuse, our buddy Captain Patrick. Wow, Garrett was amazing. Love the new offense. Thank God Sean was okay. Was that a dirty, cheap shot knee that got him hurt? Well, we discussed that. I hope not. Defense was awesome. F. Cunningham, that guy, Michael Jones. That guy is Michael Jones' little bitch. We fixed the wide receiver drops and the penalties, and we'll be in the ACC title game That's
Whoa.
the attitude I like to hear. But
Oh, yeah.
pump the brakes maybe a tiny bit. But you fix those things though. You fix the drops and penalties. I could buy that. Maybe if it got fixed.
Dude, but that's the thing is when did they stop us?
They would. I mean, look. Let's just check real quick because I don't. There was it was a long time before we actually punted.
It was right before the
It
end
was
of the
2 minutes and 54 seconds left in the first half.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, I'm sorry. That was not it, Joe. 3 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first half when we punted.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that it was close. So, I mean, we were putting up long drives. And then
we were killing the clock. Our first 2 possessions killed the clock.
Yeah, they only had the ball 4 times in the first half. So that was another portion of it, is that we kept the ball out of Malik Cunningham's hands. And then we get to the second half, he's frustrated trying to force things, and that's when he made mistakes. And realistically, the third quarter, we stopped ourselves. We didn't score anything in the third quarter because of false starts and holdings and legal formations. And I mean, that was the only time that I felt like we punted and that we didn't get, some type of points or at least a field position change.
It was a 5-play series, a 7-play series to start the second half. But you know what? There was no 3 and outs for Syracuse. That's a huge turnaround. There's no 3 and outs for Syracuse yesterday. And they, like we mentioned, they destroyed the clock, especially at the start of the game. Where's the defense out? We've talked in previous years about, this offense has got to sustain drives to give this defense a break. I mean, this defense is gassed in the third quarter, hands on hips, all the time last year and previous years. And they're amazing and they're awesome athletes, but man, they can't just be out there the whole time either. So sustaining drives is huge. And if this offense can at least continue to do that and move the ball a little bit, get a couple first downs and be able to punt and even play a field position game and giving your defense a break, that's huge. That's night and day from what we're used to.
Yeah, and then the play calling. I mean, you looked at passes and runs for the longest time. It was 50-50 until we got near the end of the game, and we were pretty much just trying to run the clock out and with runs, and we were running almost every down. But like you said, no 3 and outs, sustaining drives, all the while still having false start penalties and still getting first downs and sustaining drives.
Overcoming the adversity of the penalties was huge because there was a couple they could have just. That would have been over. I think they scored on a couple of those drives. I should have paid more attention to that, but I don't know. But
and Anai and Beck, I mean, look, they had Louisville guessing, they had me guessing. I had no idea what was coming, and that was kind of awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome. That's right. At Baptized by Fire 7, the offense did what I thought it could do with the new offensive coordinator. I said we'd score 34 points, and we scored 31. By the way, I had 31, and we scored 31. So that defense, wow. I knew it would be good, but wow. You like that, Joe?
Yeah.
And that young D-line played like vets. I never thought we'd only give up 7 with a start to the season. Yeah, only giving up 7 points is huge, and I think it was Michael who said, maybe could have shut him out had it not been for some of the ticky-tack stuff. But you never know. You know what? I'm fine with the 7. I would have never if you would have told me Louisville would only score 7 points, and not even told me the Syracuse score, I would have never believed you anyway.
No,
let alone 31-7.
Yep.
Nope. Right.
Not after how many points they've scored against us the last 2 years. No.
Yeah. So, at Kevin Comerford, I think it's Comerford. I'd like to see better kickoffs into the end zone. That was one thing I noticed too. So I agree. Less penalties, obviously, is everybody's take, and maybe take our starters out when the game isn't in question. But this is one hell of a start. Fantastic game, and the Dome was loud as I've heard it in years. So the starters thing, I always question that. I feel like we questioned it a couple times last year too. I'm just with the whole the whole Sean Tucker like injury scare thing, and you got him in there till like the last moments. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't. I agree with that a little bit, but no harm, no foul. You know, you got LaQuint Allen who came in a little bit, could have given him a little bit more burn. So I mean, I don't know, whatever. I guess that's why I'm not a coach, right? At Noah Blanchard No Blanchard 44. Malik Cunningham should take that piece of paper out of his locker. If you don't know, I guess there was a tweet or something taken out of context about Mike. So it was ... and then a quote from Michael Jones, which I went and tried to look for this today. I watched videos and everything else. I couldn't find it. So something to the effect of Michael Jones saying that Malik Cunningham was not going to be a challenge for them or him personally, right? And Malik Cunningham taped it to his locker and used it as motivation, even though it was taken out of context. I wish I would have known what the ... was. But anyway, yes, Noah, to your point, take it out of your locker and throw it away. That ship has sailed. It's over. To Facebook, our boy Zach. Not even close to a full house, but man, the crowd was on point. Everyone was going nuts. The place was loud. Too much fun. So glad I bought season tickets. Schrader's passing is night and day. Yeah, I mean it was the main thing Schrader needed to work on. He worked on it all off season, and he looked totally different in my opinion coming out this year. And again, the crowd. What a time to be a season ticket holder this year. That's huge. I think it's.
Do you think that his that after what you saw yesterday, do you think that just kind of verifies that he did have an injury later in the season last year, do you think that?
Or what? What's my alternative?
Or do you think that it's just really just
a fluke?
Him putting in the work and the coaches and everything like that.
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think it has to be. There's no doubt last year that he suffered some kind of injury. After the Virginia Tech game, he did not look comfortable. And we think that injury happened a couple weeks before that, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think he was ever really that comfortable last season. And another reason why I want him to slide is because you don't want to have a nagging injury that's a stinger or something that just keeps rearing its ugly head because you keep putting yourself in situations where you just keep injuring it and it just doesn't give it the time to heal, right?
Right.
So, but I do think because he looks so much more comfortable and like his trajectory and the way he's throwing the ball, and he's throwing over defenders and everything, I just thought it looked better. Like all in all, it felt like it looked better.
Well, I saw a little bit of, I saw the coaches implement some plays like the Sean Tucker plays, the little running back swings and passes and stuff to where they made some throws easier. He's got some easier throwing. I mean, it's not doesn't really take too much to throw it out there in the damn flat to Tucker on a swing pass, right? But like that first, the first or second play to Gadsden on the sideline?
The one that was dropped?
No, he caught it. It was like the first drive. And it was over a defender over on the sideline, and Gadsden caught it and dragged his toe. I mean, that right there was a great throw. He was throwing, back shoulder throws.
Yes.
And having his guys coming back. I mean, those plays aren't getting intercepted. I mean, those are professional throws that the people in the pros, they rely on those back shoulder comeback throws, and those are almost impossible to defend. So you see that's just a little bit of what I saw, with those slants too, with the middle being open with the running back throws to Tucker and everything. I just think that overall, they just made it easier for him in the passing game, and he is completing passes that, I mean, let's be honest, he completed passes yesterday that he didn't last year.
Right.
Exactly.
Tim on Facebook, the only reason I bring this one up is because Tim is so negative all the time. He's probably the most negative follower that we have on Facebook, and he's foul about it. So I thought I'd give him his due diligence here. Schrader improved passing. That's what I needed to see. Wasn't worried about the D coming in. That's about as much positive props you're going to get out of that guy. So if Tim on Facebook didn't have anything negative to say, or wasn't a whole lot, he could have pounded the penalties if he wanted to, obviously.
No,
but,
yeah. I mean, there was definitely stuff he could have, but.
Alex on Facebook, very good start very good start to a tough schedule. We got to keep the momentum going, play well, and don't turn the ball over. Think we could shock some people this year. So, yes, that's what I'm hoping right there. Anthony on Facebook, quality win. Defense looked tight. Offense was dazzling, but the penalties have got to stop. Only prognosticator to call for the Cuse win was Lee Corso. Good call, coach. Yes, everybody giving him his props on that because the whole ACC squad in the huddle picked Louisville, which I knew they were going to do, which doesn't mean anything to me, but I just thought it was funny that they were all wrong. So, Adam on Facebook, I think we have a very complete team. Great win. As long as everyone stays healthy, Joe. I mean, it does feel like a complete team. I'd like to see Stephon Thompson come back like ASAP. I'm a little worried about Elmore and just feel terrible that he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
And, he is like what? A 6th year senior or 7th year senior? Like
6 year. Devon Cooper's the 7 year.
Okay, yeah. All right. My wife's like, 7th year?
That's what yeah. Heather said it, and I was like, yeah, he's like 24 or 25.
He's got kids at home. Robert on Facebook, I just really want to say, wow, not sure most saw that coming. Could be an incredible year. And that's it. That's going to wrap it up. But the fans are hyped up, and this team had to come out and do that, make a statement. And we will see what happens from here. It's good to walk around with your chest puffed out today, and it's good to have that little bit of celebration and stuff, but it's a long season.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got an extremely tough schedule. And I guess, we're just going to take it game by game. The Louisville game's over. We're not going to talk about it anymore. We're going to look ahead to UConn on Tuesday and, go from there. But we've got UConn, then Purdue, then Virginia, then Wagner, and then I think a bye, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And then NC State to finish off the first half of the season.
Then, yeah, But I look at that as like the split, even though I know it's like 5 games and 7 games, right? I look at it like I'm looking at the season as your first 5 games in your bye week is like the first half of the season, and then it's a gauntlet. If you can get through the gauntlet healthy, you get to these other teams that you can compete with.
The second half's brutal.
Yeah, it is, but it's getting through even though NC State didn't look great on Saturday, Notre Dame, I mean, they played Ohio State, so that's hard to gauge, but I mean, Notre Dame, NC State, Clemson, Notre Dame in a row, you got to get through that healthy so you can compete afterwards with the other 3 teams that we're going to be playing after that. So there's 4 teams, whatever. But I mean, even Pittsburgh really is probably going to be pretty tough as well. But
that was
as far as those pundits go, did you watch Game Day? Did you watch them when they were picking?
I didn't watch Game Day live. I saw some clips afterwards.
Have you seen Corso?
Yeah. It's rough. He was drunk, was he?
No, he's not drunk.
He's not drunk?
No, he's old.
He was drinking. Yeah, I know he's really old. He's still got it, though.
Nah, dude, he barely talks. He's up there like Weekend at Bernie's.
I know.
It's bad. But he was the one that picked, and even, we're sitting there watching it, and the thing came up, and Heather's like, oh, and she's like, they're all picking Louisville. And then I was just making fun of this guy because.
And then he picked Syracuse.
And then he picked Syracuse, and I'm like, the only guy that picked Syracuse is the senile guy up here. And I'm like, great. You know what I mean? But it's like, I feel bad. Because I feel like when people get to that point, they don't. I mean, yeah, he made Game Day. I get it, but like, he's not running around throwing mascot heads on anymore.
Dude, I feel like that was like last year. I feel like we're only a year separated from this, right?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Now it's like he's struggling to pick a team. let alone, not so I mean, he's not saying not so fast anymore.
No, he's not.
It's just, and it's sad to see.
It is sad to see because that's a staple of just growing up.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. And then as far as the ACC guys, because I do enjoy the ACC guys too.
I do too. EJ Manuel, by the way, real quick, he grew up in the neighborhood across the street from me. And I lived here, so I've been kind of rooting for him. And then he was drafted by the Bills. I rooted for him here because he was close. He's
right.
Bayside High School is the alternate high school to where my kids go. So it's just across the street. You go to one or the other, literally. And they're rivals. Princess Anne and Bayside are rivals. So he went to Bayside. But he was drafted by the Bills. And I still rooted for him because he was a hometown guy. And then he ended up playing for the Raiders. So I love him. And I like those guys. And I do like the Huddle. I feel like the Huddle is one of the better shows. And maybe it's just because we're ACC guys. But I feel like it's a better show than what most people are putting out for pregame and stuff,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I'll tell you what, too, by watching it, you can definitely tell. I mean, Eric McLean, he was pretty high on us this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if, that whole them not picking Syracuse to win some games doesn't change or because last night they were all talking pretty highly of us.
Oh, were they? See, I really, 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 really wanted to watch that, and I just was whooped. I was whooped, man. I went fishing early in the morning, and I'm surprised I stayed awake as long as I did. But the pure adrenaline of the game is the only thing that had me up. When the game was over, I was done.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, look, thanks for joining us, you guys. We really do appreciate it. And, there's nothing like coming back here and talking about games. Because if you've listened for long enough, I hate filler. And it is so nice not to have some filler BS talking about some BS. And I'm just happy that games are back. Games are back, and it's still 85 degrees and sunny in Virginia Beach, that's great. I could deal with both of those. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out. Thank you, all of you.
Peace. Man, winning a game like that, dude, it's like I can't wait to go to work on Tuesday. As weird as that is.
I can wait. I want my 4-day weekend. I had a 4-day because I was off on Friday. We have a company
Friday. Yeah.
We have a company fishing trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, obviously, I got Monday off, but Tuesday, I look forward to that kind of stuff. And honestly, it would have been even greater if ECU and App State pulled those out.
I was rooting for ECU hard, dude. I was rooting for them hard, bro. And not for anything, there's a lot of ECU State fans around this area. I mean, a lot of I feel like a lot of people, that's like an alternate decent school for people around here to go. So it's a lot of people from here go there. But and I love their logo, and I love that they call their stadium the Boneyard. It's just a cool team. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a cool team.
Yeah, that App State game was crazy though.
I didn't watch that. I missed it.
Oh, dude, and they scored 6 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Who did?
App State.
Did they really?
Dude, North Carolina was beating them 41-21 going into the fourth quarter. And then they went down, and what was it? I think they scored to tie it with 30 seconds or something like that to go. And they said, screw it, we're going to go for 2 to win, right? And it was a perfect dialed-up play, bro. Perfect. But it was just a bad pass, and the receiver turned around and started backpedaling. Ball ended up going over his head. He was wide open.
Well, that freaking missed field goal by...
Well, he missed the PAT, too.
He did? For the East Carolina?
ECU guy. That's why it was 21-20, because he missed the PAT.
I gotcha.
and then he missed the field goal. But the thing with the North Carolina App State game was they go for 2 and they miss it, so they're down 1. All right, so you got to do an onside kick, 30 seconds, no timeouts. They do an onside kick, and the damn North Carolina guy returns it for a touchdown instead of like falling on it or going out of bounds or anything. He returns it for a touchdown. They kick a PAT, so now there's 28 seconds left, and they're up 8. And there was like a 15-yard penalty of like celebration afterwards. So App State got great field position. I mean, the guy returned it past the 50-yard line with 20-something seconds to go. 2 plays later, they scored a touchdown. And they had to go for 2 basically to try to tie it, and they missed it. So App State, I think it was 63-61 was the final score. So App State scored 40 points in the fourth quarter.
That's crazy.
It was insane, bro. Insane.
Is this fucking serious? What is going on? Oopsie.
What?
I'm just trying to see why the fuck this won't play all the way. It's like it didn't record all the way.
Told them,
I mean, the whole thing is there, but it won't.
Unfortunately,
do anything.
Anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes.
It's like it's
I can't
stopped.
figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Hold on. I can't hear you right now because this is playing.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're talking over this thing real quick. I'm trying to see why this didn't.
Now, those 2 unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Huh.
Hi. You good? What you doing? All right.
Oh.
You might stop by.
All right, I got some shit to fix. So,
Oh boy.
anyway, not a huge deal.